This is CTV, Canada's official network of the Olympic Winter Games. The following is a special presentation of CTV Sports.
The battles of October have brought us the stuff real-life legends are made of. And now, as the World Series enters its 9th decade, we're still filled with that same sense of awe when the champions of the American and National Leagues clash to create the annual Fall Classic.
Push out, Vito, back. He makes a one-handed catch against the bullpen. Oh, doctor. Back, it is. Oh, here comes the pitch. Strike three. A no-hitter. Win the game for John Morrison. Strike the ball goes down. It is. If it stays fair, it's gone. Home run. The Red Sox win. And a ground ball, trickling. It is a fair ball. Gets by Buckner. Down the third night. The Mets will win the ball game. The Mets win. This is going to be a home run. Unbelievable. A home run for Gibson. I don't believe what I just saw.
Into deep left center for Mitchell. And we'll see you tomorrow night.
Last time Canada put the world in the World Series. This year, Toronto is back, looking to become the first team to win back-to-back World Series since those Yankees in '77 and '78. But in their path stands a cast of inventive thinkers from Philadelphia who are flying higher than a kite. Now, both Blue Jays and the Phillies are looking to catch lightning one more time and capture that childhood dream. This is Toronto, Ontario. It's a city that takes its sports quite seriously. And if you're lucky enough to live here by the shores of Lake Ontario, you're enjoying that elusive dream season. And Toronto fans are confident that the best is yet to come. The beloved Maple Leafs are off to a 5-0 start in the new NHL season. And with a new NBA franchise on its way, it won't be long before Shaq brings down the house. But in its own quiet way, Toronto has always been a baseball town. And now the Blue Jays are 4 victories away from defending the World Series championship they treasure. And once again, the good folks up north here have geared up to provide one and all another warm Canadian welcome. We're back inside Skydome, an architectural wonder that can hardly keep its lid on the excitement and anticipation as the Phillies and the Blue Jays prepare to wage the ultimate battle of this October. Game 1 of the World Series here on CBS. And hi again, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien. Welcome to CBS Sports' exclusive coverage of the 1993 World Series. Well, 90 years ago when they first began playing these fall classics, who would ever have supposed that one day it would come down to what we might think of as the Wild Bunch versus the Mounties? You know, for all the talk about their girth and grooming, the Phillies deserve credit for overcoming the best team in baseball, the Atlanta Braves. On the other hand, while the Blue Jays were expected to return to the World Series, this is hardly the same team that won it all a year ago. In fact, 12 of the 25 members of Toronto's roster are different this time around. But regardless if this is your first World Series or not, tonight is something very special. You could feel the buzz around the batting cage earlier this evening when I had a chance to talk shop with some of the players.
Yeah, you know, you got that little grin on your face all day, and you can't wait to get out to the ballpark. So, you know, at 37, I have to say I'm feeling pretty young today.
You catch it, you throw, and you hit it. I mean, to me, it's the same thing I've been doing since I was 8 years old. So, because there's more people watching.
Great place to be, huh?
Yeah, really exciting.
Good luck.
The green thing the whole day, I hit the third base. I hit that top, I might hit them seats out there.
Practicing your hitting?
Yeah, I might have to pinch hit in this series.
How are you as a hitter? Good?
Well, I batted 1,000 this year with 1 game-winning RBI, something small, nothing big.
All right. Well, good luck tonight.
All right, thanks.
You catch, you throw, and you hit it. We come back, we'll give you a look at some of the things the Phillies won't show us during this World Series as Baseball 93 rolls on for fans on both sides of the friendly border right here on CBS. The World Series, folks.
Watch the world's biggest event on CTV this winter, the Olympic Games.
It looks European, definitely European in style.
He hugs you. There's lots of room.
It's very inviting and comfortable.
Transversely mounted V6.
If I want to be by myself, I won't go upstairs and read. I will go for a drive. It would be a winding road, trees, mountains. There would have to be water.
I love the way this thing corners. Responses in this car are smooth. I could drive this car all day. You just made a dream come true.
Andrew Dunn, Canada Trust customer, age 6. Liquid assets, 279 nickels, and counting. Financial goal, mountain bike, or nickel tycoon. A small suggestion, start with the basics and see where it leads.
It looks European, definitely European in style.
He hugs you. There's lots of room.
It's very inviting and comfortable.
Transversely mounted V6.
If I want to be by myself, I won't go upstairs and read. I will go for a drive. It would be a winding road, trees, mountains. There would have to be water.
I love the way this thing corners. Responses in this car are smooth. I could drive this car all day. You just made a dream come true.
This is CTV, proud sponsor of the world's biggest event, the Olympic Winter Games.
The liberal Canadian customs allowed the Philly fanatic to come across the border, the best mascot in the business, and he'll be here throughout the World Series. You know, the local newspapers here in Toronto refer to their guest from the city of brotherly love as the Broad Street Bellies. Be that as it may, nobody can dispute the talent and determination the Phillies have displayed this year, but what they will probably be most remembered for is their unique sense of, shall we say, style, which has surfaced during the course of this long soap opera of a season. When we last left the Toronto Blue Jays, they were baseball's guiding lights. But in another world, there's a team that's bold, if not beautiful. So we continue now with the never-ending saga of all baseball's children, for whom, like the sands through the hourglass, these are the days of their lives.
CBS Sports presents As the Phillies Turn.
Tonight, will John the Ripper Kruk continue on a tear? And what, pray tell, is this all about?
That's so sexy, yeah. I call them a group of diversified personalities.
You know, we're not really choir boys. I don't think any of us go to church too often, but we're not really bad people. You know, we haven't been on this show yet, so.
America's Most Wanted. They are grunge, even though they're sometimes embarrassed by an occasional clean-cut misfit.
You end up with this crowd. It wasn't cut looking. Yeah, it wasn't those things that was by choice, but it was also when I got called up. It wasn't something I was going to turn down, so I did my best to fit in.
And you like it?
I love it so far. It's easy to come out and be relaxed when you're with a bunch of characters like this.
I mean, it's the way we are, you know, like the hair and the beard and everything. I mean, we had it last year, but we were so bad, no one cared. But now, you know, you win a few games and everyone wants to know about it. I mean, it's just hair.
Some things you won't see in this soap. Trust us. I don't think so. Not. Oh, and for sure. All of the above.
If people actually knew the way we actually are, they'd like us that much more. You know, we look like a softball team that comes out every Sunday and drinks beer. Well, you know, nobody tries to be that way in here. That's just the way we are.
No doubt the Canadian fans must be thinking that if the NAFTA treaty ever gets passed, they'll be able to welcome these free-spirited Phillies on a tariff-free basis every day of the year. We'll be back to introduce the two teams and sing the two national anthems. And we continue from Sky Dome on CBS. Right after this. Stay with us, Joe.
Staring into his black coffee, he said, I need to change. Well, I said, why not try new Irish cream coffee mate or hazelnut coffee mate or amaretto coffee mate? But he said, but nothing, I said. These new coffee mate flavors change everyday coffee into specialty coffee. Try one, I said. Oh, it's very, very good, he said, but I need change like dimes and nickels. Oh, I said, but by then they towed his car. Coffee Mate makes your cup of coffee taste great.
Every week, there is a weekend. For every mortgage payment, there is a house you call home. And for every trip to the dry cleaners, the in-laws, or the pediatrician, there is now the 850 sports wagon from Volvo.
Well, with our volume, this could save us $2,500 in the first month alone. That's big news for us.
Express Post not only slashes my courier costs, delivers me the same peace of mind. And I like that.
It's designed to fill that gap. It is right in the middle between mail economy and courier speed.
New Express Post. Faster than mail, cheaper than courier. With call-in confirmation. For your free trial, call 1-800-361-3113.
The SO Tiger team talks the details.
I think it's the little extra details that separate us from the other gas stations. The small things like talking to the customer, using their name if you can.
Make sure you always have good eye contact.
One of the things that they teach us to do is if you're checking the oil, when you close the hood, then just take a clean towel and just wipe it off.
The service is number one, and then the details just top it off.
It's the little things that make us special.
You're on your way with SO.
Getting ready for Game 1 of the World Series at Sky Dome in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and a pensive Phillies starter, Curt Schilling, about to get some northern exposure. He's the first native of Alaska to start Game 1 of a World Series. And there he is. Our exclusive CBS Sports coverage of the 1993 World Series will continue after a message from your very own local station.
Have to find something else to talk about Monday mornings. CTV's W5 with Eric Melling.
Looking for a jacket that won't wear out in 6 months, doesn't make you look like an astronaut? Look here. The Hobo Clothing Company. And when you look, make sure you compare apples to apples. What's in a hobo jacket? Stunner nylon with entrant coating, tape waterproof seams, Coban 80 thread, heavyweight zippers. In case you don't recognize it, it's quality. Hobo Clothing Company on Broadway.
What's new? Introducing Campbell's new hearty vegetable with pasta soup.
Start something with Campbell's.
Start loading up on the good stuff. Hearty chunks of vegetables and lots of pasta shells.
Pasta shells? That's new, isn't it?
In a rich vegetable broth.
You're making me hungry.
Good.
Start something with soup.
New hearty vegetable with pasta. If you've got a healthy appetite.
Start something with Campbell's.
Start your Blue Jays World Champion collection today with a limited edition signed and autographed print of Dave Stewart or the 1992 World Series champion team, both signed and autographed from Collector's Choice, your sports art gallery. Order or reserve your print today at 665-8300.
Here's 2 more reasons why all trucks are not created equal. Buy selected Ford pickups and get the V8 engine upgrade and handling package at no extra charge. Plus, get 3.9 financing up to 48 months, but only till October 22nd and only at your Ford and Mercury dealer.
With manager Jim Fregosi. Leading off for the Phillies, the center fielder number 4, Lenny Dykstra. Batting second, the second baseman number 7, Mariano Duncan. Batting third, the first baseman, number 29, John Kraft. Batting fourth, the third baseman, number 15, Dave Hollins. Batting fifth, the catcher, number 10, Darren Dalton. Batting sixth, the right fielder, number 8, Jim Eisenreich. Batting seventh, the designated hitter, number 17, Ricky Jordan. Batting eighth, the left fielder, number 25, Milt Thompson. Batting ninth, the shortstop, number 19, Kevin Stocker. Tonight's starting pitcher warming up in the bullpen, number 38, Kurt Schilling. And now, tonight's starting lineup, beginning with manager Cito Gaston. Leading off the first for the Blue Jays, the left fielder, number 24, Ricky Henderson. Batting second, the center fielder, number 25, Devon White. Batting third, the second baseman, number 12, Roberto Alomar. Batting fourth, the right fielder, number 29, Joe Carter. Fifth, the first baseman, number 9, John Olerud. Batting sixth, the designated hitter, number 19, Paul Molitor. Batting seventh, the shortstop, number 1, Tony Fernandez. Batting eighth, the third baseman, number 33, Ed Sprague. Batting ninth, the catcher, number 10, Patch Borders. Tonight's starting pitcher, warming up in the bullpen, number 66, Juan Guzman. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm Skydome welcome to the Queen of Soul, Arista recording artist Aretha Franklin, who will sing the American National Anthem for this evening's game. Accompanying Aretha are the U.S. Marines Color Guard and the Royal Canadian Mounted Police Color Guard.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what's so proud? Stars through the perilous flight of the ramparts we watch so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rattling, their bombs bursting the air, through the night. Then our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled the brave.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, here to sing the Canadian national anthem is Canada's own Michael Burgess.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all our sons' command, par ton brasse porter l'épée, il sait porter la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you and merci. Time now to put you in the capable hands of Sean McDonough and Tim McCarver, who will call the action for you as we close in on Game 1 of the 1993 World Series. Gentlemen, have a great series. Over to you.
Thank you, Pat, and good evening, everybody. Sean McDonough with Tim McCarver. Great to have you with us for Game 1 of the World Series. And, Tim, they say that appearances can be deceiving, and certainly that is the case with this World Series. So much talk leading up to tonight about the difference in appearance of these two teams, the Blue Jays and their clean-cut image, the rough-and-tumble Phillies. But when you look beneath the surface, you see that these two teams have an awful lot in common.
Well, the reputation of the Phillies is down and dirty, and they certainly are that, but you have to look beneath that. They are a very intelligent ball club, very intelligent hitters, and they know how to win. The clean-cut Blue Jays, on the other hand, are all of that, but they are also rough and dirty. As Cito Gaston says, they're the same as the Phillies. The only difference is they shave and get a haircut occasionally.
Indeed they do, and they are similar on the field as well. The Phillies led the National League in runs this season. Toronto was second in the American League behind Detroit, so we expect a high-scoring series. What else can we look for?
Well, I think some of the things to look for tonight, a re-emergence of Rickey Henderson as a force. Even though he only hit 120 in the American League Championship Series, he leads, as a matter of fact, he holds the record for stolen bases in World Series play and a .412 average in 2 World Series. The one thing I think the Blue Jays will be worried about, the lack of left-handed pitchers. If you remember, Tommy Glavine and Steve Avery of the Atlanta Braves pitched very well against the Phillies, and their left-handed hitters that play every day, Dykstra, Kruk, and Dalton, and the Blue Jays have only 2 left-handers on their roster, and both of them will probably work out of the bullpen. For Jim Fregosi, it's imperative that Curt Schilling work deep into the game. Larry Anderson and David West can be looked for late in the game, but the middle relief of the Phillies is poor. And also, as Ricky Henderson goes for the Blue Jays, Len Dykstra is going to be the catalyst for the Philadelphia Phillies. And if he's not, the Phillies will have a tough time scoring.
The Phillies send Curt Schilling out to the mound in tonight's Game 1. He'll be opposed by Toronto's Juan Guzman. The first pitch of the World Series from Toronto right after this.
Join CTV as the world's youth assembles in Lillehammer for the Olympic Winter Games. Labatt presents the World Series on CTV. Sponsored by Labatt Blue. Honest and true, you bet it's blue.
In 2 short years, how far can you take a family sedan? Over 3,000 punishing kilometers to twice win Rally Australia. And now we've pushed the Elantra even further in champion style and performance, whether it's Outback or out front. Introducing the 1994 Hyundai Elantra. It's not your ordinary family sedan.
Taste of Labatt Light. Now that's refreshing. The Esso Tiger team talks service.
The manager tells us, be honest with the customers because that's what they want.
Treat everybody with the same amount of care.
Small details like streaks on the windows.
The customer's a lot friendlier if you get out there quickly.
On the self-serve, we have a quick reset. Customers, they just start pumping right away. The customer's response to our service is great.
When you take people from different Essos and you put them all together and everyone's doing an efficient job, then Esso must be doing something right.
You're on your way with Esso.
Around here, you never know what you'll be doing next. Hauling hay out to the zebras, pulling somebody out of the mud. I think I've shoveled more species of manure than anyone in the country. But the Mazda trucks are dependable. That's the big reason. And strong.
The all-new Mazda B4000 pickup. Now with the strength of 4-liter V6 power.
Because you'd be surprised how quickly a Rhino can accelerate.
Now get it.
The starting lineup for Jim Fregosi and the Phillies tonight. Lenny Dykstra leads off in center field. Mariano Duncan gets the start at second base. John Kruk batting third at first base. The cleanup hitter is the third baseman Dave Hollins. Batting fifth and doing the catching, Darren Dalton. Batting sixth in right field, Jim Eisenreich. Ricky Jordan will be the DH tonight and bats seventh. Milt Thompson is the left fielder hitting eighth. And the shortstop, Kevin Stocker, bats ninth.
The defense for the Blue Jays, it will be tough for the Phillies to get a line drive between left fielder Ricky Henderson and center fielder Devon White. They can both fly. Joe Carter in right field. Ed Sprague will be the third baseman this evening. The New York Mets traded Tony Fernandez on June 10th for Darren Jackson, and Tony's back in Toronto. Roberto Alomar has the best range of any second baseman in baseball at second. John Olerud at first base. And Pat Borders behind the plate with Juan Guzman on the mound.
And we are pleased to be joined tonight here in Toronto by our colleague Jim Gray. Jim?
Sean, there are some injuries of some concern for both of these teams. First, for the Phillies, Mariano Duncan has a sprained muscle in his rib cage. Now, he told me that he was unable to swing a bat for the past 3 days, but he came out for batting practice, and he did do well, and so he will start at second base. Now, for the Blue Jays, Ricky Henderson has a very sore right hand. He injured it when he was hit by a pitch in late August. Now, Ricky told me that he feels that the hand may be broken, even though x-rays have been negative. Now, he said that he will play tonight. He's in tremendous pain, and it does hinder his swing. Sean?
And on the mound tonight for the Toronto Blue Jays, Juan Guzman, the 26-year-old from the Dominican Republic.
Speaking of hindering swings, as Jim said, Juan Guzman can hinder a lot of good swings. 14-3 on the year. He is 5-0 in postseason, and listen to this. His lifetime record is 40-11.
That's in the regular season. When you add the 5-0 in the postseason, 45-11 lifetime. And Lenny Dykstra will lead off. He hit .305 during the regular season. This will be the first time that the first pitch of the World Series has ever been thrown outside the United States. And the first pitch of the '93 World Series, a fastball for a ball to Lenny Dykstra. Of course, this is only the 4th game played in the World Series outside the United States, and the first 3 were last year when the Blue Jays hosted games 3, 4, and 5. 1-1 on Dykstra, who had a hit in every game of the League Championship Series.
And 3 in the last 3 games of the 1988 series. So Lenny with a 9-game hitting streak in postseason play.
2 balls and 1 strike. Davey Phillips of the American League is the home plate umpire. Paul Runge, Mark Johnson, Charlie Williams, Tim McClelland, and Dana DeMuth for the rest of the umpiring crew. Another close pitch called the ball, and Dykstra is ahead in the count 3-1.
Dykstra will probably take here. He takes often when he leads off a game 2-0 and 3-1. Tell you, talking about Guzman, there are very few pitchers where catchers just say, just throw strikes. It doesn't matter where they are, just throw strikes.
Tough to tell where a couple of those pitches missed. Guzman appeared to be very close to the strike zone, if not in it. But 4 of the 5 pitches were called balls.
Dykstra, like his counterpart Ricky Henderson, that pitch looked a little low, but his counterpart Ricky Henderson, both of them worked the strike zone like an accordion, trying to duck under balls, and they're always a moving target, and they're tough to call balls and strikes for a home plate umpire.
Mariano Duncan is the hitter. And he takes a fastball for strike 1. It is somewhat of a surprise that Duncan is in the starting lineup tonight, given that Mickey Morandini started the 3 games in the National League Championship Series, in which the Braves started a right-handed pitcher. And as Jim Gray told you, Duncan has been bothered for a while now by the sore rib cage. John Kruk is on deck. We're just underway with Game 1 of the World Series, and the Phillies have the lead man on. And Guzman will keep an eye on Dykstra. A ball outside, and a ball and a strike on Duncan. That last pitch registered 94 miles per hour on our radar gun downstairs.
Talking to Pat Borders yesterday, and Pat said that he could put down 1 finger all night for Guzman. That's how much movement Guzman has on his fastball in the strike zone. It's all over the place. 26 wild pitches on the year.
And plenty on that pitch. 1-2 on Duncan.
Guzman with 194 Ks on the regular season, but that's that fastball we were talking about. You can blow it by most hitters.
Dykstra stole 37 bases during the regular season. He was only thrown out 12 times, and he's running with the pitch, which is a ball. Borders throw, gets by Alomar, and is backed up by Fernandez. So Lenny Dykstra has the first stolen base of the World Series, and he's in scoring position with nobody out in the first.
Dykstra with a tremendous jump. Borders had no chance. You see that funky little move of Juan Guzman. He picks his leg up and then straightens it out. a lot of pitchers use either the slide step or the high kick. It appears that Guzman uses both, and for that reason, runners can get a good jump.
The 2-2 to Duncan. He struck him out. Foul tipped into the middle borders for strike 3.
Borders setting up outside, and that's where he got it.
One out, a runner at second. No score in the top of the first for John Kruk, who was 8th in the National League in hitting with his .316 average. Because they play in different leagues, these two teams do not know much about each other, but Juan Guzman said he thought he got a pretty good idea of how to pitch to the Phillies by watching several of the NLCS games on TV. Juan particularly paid attention to Game 4, the game started by John Smoltz of Atlanta, because Guzman thinks that he and Smoltz have similar pitching styles.
The scouts, by the way, before the Toronto Blue Jays that scouted the Phillies, Al Lamacchia and Moose Johnson. Moose Johnson was a scout with the Phillies for 25 years before coming to Toronto a couple of years ago. Mike Arbuckle was a scout for the Phillies against the Braves, and while he was covering Atlanta, Jimmy Stewart and Ray Shore covered the Toronto Blue Jays.
They have passed along whatever tidbits they could ascertain about the opposition. And the 0-2 to Kruk. There's a fastball inside. Another 94-mile-per-hour fastball from Guzman. Jim Fregosi. The World Series for the first time as a manager or a player. Just missed. And the count is 2-2 on Kruk. He'll be followed by Dave Hollins. Kruk got off to a fast start against the Braves and then was cold the last 3, which he went 1 for 13. Of course, in many ways, John Kruk has become the poster boy for that rough and tumble Philadelphia image of which we were speaking. And when Juan Guzman was asked at the press conference yesterday his feeling about the Phillies and their appearance and all the conversation about, he said, well, to me, they look like a bunch of truck drivers.
I'll tell you, if John Kruk's a poster boy, it's a big poster.
When Kurt Schilling was asked about Guzman's comment, he said, he's right. We do look like a bunch of truck drivers. Another 2-2 pitch. Fastball fouled away to the left.
2 balls fouled away to the left. John Kruk, I think with 2 strikes, he has more of a tendency to go to left field, and a bit surprising that Devon White is playing John almost straight away in center field. In the air, John will go to left. 30 of his first 33 major league home runs were hit to left field.
No score in the top of the first. Lenny Dykstra is the runner at second. And another 2-2 to Kruk. Line to left center and sinking fast. That falls in for a hit. Dykstra around to score, and the Phillies lead 1-0 on an opposite field single by John Kruk.
Kruk had 85 RBIs during the season. During the league championship series, the first 3 games he was doing well. He was 5 for 11, but only 1 for 13 in the last 3 league championship series games, but puts the Phillies in front with the first hit of the ball game.
Dave Hollins looked at a ball. We mentioned the glowing record of Guzman in the postseason. And this is the first time in 7 postseason starts now in his career that he is allowed a run in the first inning. Ball 2, 2-0 on the switch hitting Hollins. He's a better right-handed hitter. Dave hit .330 during the regular season from the right, only .237 from the left. Pat Borders at the mound to speak with Guzman, and manager Cito Gaston will join the conversation.
Juan Guzman, 5-0 in postseason play. Jack Coombs and Herb Pinnock, a couple of old-timers, and Lefty Gomez with a 6-0 record. You may remember John Smoltz was 5-0 in the National League Championship Series, but he was beaten on 2 unearned runs in Game 4. So that takes John Smoltz out of that quartet.
So Guzman with a win tonight would match Lefty Grove for the most postseason wins without a loss. Lefty Gomez, pardon me. 1 run in, and the Phillies have Kruk at first with 1 out and a count of 2-0 on Dave Hollins. And after the conversation with Gaston, Guzman delivers a strike, 2-1. Just outside, 3-1 on Hollins. And he'll be followed by Darren Dalton. Hollins couldn't get to the high fastball. We'll talk about the notoriously quiet crowds here in Toronto, and we certainly saw an exception to that during the pregame festivities. But with the run the Phillies have scored here in the first, it is very quiet again. The payoff pitch with the runner going is ball 4.
The Phillies love to face a pitcher who has control problems because they're a power hitting team, and 3 of the top 4 positions as far as walks are concerned and leaders in the National League were held by Philadelphia Philly batters. So they will not help Guzman out and swing at balls out of the strike zone.
As a team, they drew 665 walks during the regular season in 162 games. Darren Dalton, one of those patient hitters, who walked 117 times during the regular year. He's up with 2 men on and 1 out. 1 run in. The Phillies lead 1-0. Guzman has walked 2 in the inning. He's given up the RBI single to Kruk, and he has a strikeout of Duncan to his credit.
I think when Cito Gaston came out to the mound, it was just to reassure Guzman that he thought some of those strikes or those pitches to Dykstra were strikes also. And I think Borders thought that pitch was a strike. And he took off his mask and said something to Dave Phillips, the home plate umpire. Usually umpires don't mind if a catcher keeps his face straight away to center field, and he'll allow him a little more leverage in what he has to say.
Davey Phillips in his 23rd year as a major league umpire, working his 4th World Series. He's the crew chief for the 6 umpires assembled. A double play is unlikely. Dalton batted in 136 double play situations this season, bounced into only 2. That was the lowest rate in the majors among everyday players. 1-2 pitch. Lined into right for a hit. Kruk will be waved around by Boa. Carter kicked the ball in right, and the Phillies lead 2-0. Darren Dalton, an RBI single to drive in the second Philadelphia run.
Dalton had 105 during the season. This ball in the right center field, and look at Dave Hollins. Watch as he looks at the third base coach, Larry Boa. See, he can't see that Carter dropped the ball, so he picks Boa up right there. Boa decides to send Kruk. Had Joe come up with the ball, Larry perhaps would have held Kruk at third base, but Hollins looking, making sure that third base was clear before he came over.
It's a single for Dalton and an RBI. They've charged Carter with the first error of the World Series. Official scores with the judgment that Hollins went from second to third as a result of the boot by Carter. Still only one out. Sixth batter of the first inning for Philadelphia is Jim Eisenreich, who took ball one. He platooned in right field during the regular season in the League Championship Series with Wes Chamberlain. During the regular season, he hit .318. Check swing and a foul ball past Larry Boa in the third base coach's box. 1-1 on Eisenreich. Two runs on two hits and two walks in the inning for the Phillies. And Dalton will occasionally steal a base. He was 37 in his career. He was perfect 5 for 5 this year. Eisenreich chased a breaking ball at his feet. 1-2.
That's a terrific play by Pat Borders. That ball in the dirt certainly saved a run. Borders, a converted catcher back in 1988, makes a nice play on that slider.
He started his professional career as a third baseman. When he first made the transition to catcher, he had absolutely no idea what he was doing back there and was terrible at blocking balls. Breaking ball got Eisenreich. On the 31st pitch of the inning for Guzman, that's the second out.
So Guzman got ahead and expands the strike zone. Both the 0-1 and the 0-2 pitch are the slider in the dirt, and a pitcher has to have confidence in a catcher like that, a guy like Borders who can block the ball. Two nice plays.
And the DH is Ricky Jordan, used primarily as a pinch hitter this year by Jim Fregosi. In the World Series these days, the DH is used when the American League team is the home team. Pitchers will hit in the games played at Philadelphia. Big question on the Philadelphia side leading up to tonight's game one was who would be the DH. Would it be Jordan or Pete Incaviglia? Jim Fregosi elected to go with Ricky Jordan. Guzman up to 33 pitches. More or less a 50-50 split, strikes to balls.
Jim Fregosi saying that Wes Chamberlain and Pete Incaviglia are probably upset that neither is a designated hitter tonight, but Ricky Jordan in there, because if Jim does make a move late in the game for a pinch hitter against either Al Leiter or Tony Castillo, the two left-handers for Toronto, he wants to have Incaviglia, who's available to play left, and Chamberlain, who may be available to play right field. That's why Jordan's the DH.
The 1-2 pitch. Check swing at a ball low and away. No swing, says Paul Runge of the National League, the first base umpire. There's Pete Incaviglia, a spectator at the start of the ball game.
Jordan didn't appear to go around. That's an easy call there.
Two balls and two strikes, 2 outs, 2 men on. Hollins the runner at third, Dalton at first. The Phillies lead 2-0. It has been a long top of the first. He struck him out. Guzman went to the breaking ball late in the inning, and it helped get him out of the inning, having allowed just the 2 runs.
This is the equivalent of 1 Canadian winter. Most antifreeze protects through 2 winters. But now, there's a formula that lasts an additional 3 winters, for a total of 5 years of protection. MotoMaster Formula 2000 Antifreeze, only at Canadian Tire. It offers 5 years of protection at a great Canadian Tire price. And might be the last antifreeze you ever buy for your car. MotoMaster, quality automotive products for a lot less.
Any major purchase involves a leap of faith. Buy a Nissan and it doesn't have to, thanks to the Nissan Satisfaction Commitment. Including 6-year warranties and 24-hour roadside assistance at no extra cost. Because we believe warranties should protect the people who drive the cars, not the people who make them. Nissan, built for the human race.
Now, it's time for the Coldwell Banker World Series Flashback. Coldwell Banker, together with Canada Trust Realty, the new power in Canadian real estate.
October 17th, 1992. Game 1 of the World Series. Bottom of the 6th, Damon Berryhill faces Jack Morris.
Berryhill with a deep drive to right. On the way to the wall, Winfield, forget about it.
Berryhill the thrill. Atlanta takes Game 1.
A 3-run homer for Damon Berryhill, and the Braves take a 3-1 lead. The lineup for Cito Gaston and the Toronto Blue Jays tonight. Ricky Henderson leads off in left field, batting second the center fielder Devon White. The second baseman Roberto Alomar bats third. The cleanup hitter is right fielder Joe Carter. John Olerud bats fifth at first base. Paul Molitor, the DH, hits sixth. Tony Fernandez is the shortstop, batting seventh. Ed Sprague at third base hits eighth, and the catcher Pat Borders bats ninth.
The defense for the Phillies shows Milt Thompson, the left fielder, Len Dykstra in center, Jim Eisenreich in right, Dave Hollins at third, Kevin Stocker at shortstop, Mariano Duncan at second, John Kruk at first, and Darren Dalton behind the plate. With Curt Schilling on the mound, he had no decisions in the National League Championship Series, but was the MVP. That's how well he pitched.
And he's pitching with a 2-0 lead as the Blue Jays come up for the first time in the World Series. Schilling's first pitch, a ball up and in to Ricky Henderson, who bent over the plate as if to bunt. And Schilling's first pitch clocked at 94 miles per hour, so both Guzman and Schilling have come out of the gate throwing hard. And throwing inaccurately. 2-0 the count. A strike at the belt. Henderson did not provide much of a lift to the Toronto offense when he came over to the Blue Jays in a midseason trade for top pitching prospect Steve Carsey. In 44 games with the Jays, Ricky hit only .215.
However, he scored 37 runs with only 35 hits, and he's one of the few guys in baseball who can help you when he's not hitting. Talked about that accordion stance of his, how he squeezes it up and down. He's a very difficult hitter to call balls and strikes on.
Popped up and out of play. A full count on Henderson, who, as Jim Gray told you, has been playing in pain for much of his stint with Toronto. Ricky suffered a bone bruise on his right hand as a result of being hit by a pitch by Seattle's Jeff Nelson on August 22nd. And his left hand has also been sore since early August when he strained a tendon while doing some exercises designed to strengthen his left shoulder. Ball 4.
Curt Schilling has had that cap all year long, and that's what's written on the bill of it. No talk, just get it done. In the celebration of the Phillies at the Vet in Philadelphia, he lost that cap. A fan picked it up and called in on a talk show and said, I have the cap. And he brought the cap back to Curt at Veterans Stadium. Curt said he thought he might have to leave him a ticket or two.
Henderson at first. And the first pitch to Devon White is outside. White has benefited from having Henderson hitting in front of him in the Toronto lineup. Devon White is an excellent fastball hitter, and he sees more fastballs when Ricky is at first base, as he is now. 2-0. A fan who helped Schilling retrieve his lucky hat was Bruce Basco of Millville, New Jersey, a 37-year-old employee of an Atlantic City casino. He called WIP, the all-sports radio station in Philadelphia. Confessed to picking up the hat when he ran on the field during the celebration after the Phillies clinched the NLCS. At first, the talk show host didn't believe him, but Schilling was listening to the show and called up and said, I did lose my hat. Tell that guy to bring it in. So Bruce jumped on his motorcycle, drove 50 miles from his home, and got there just before the Phillies were about to leave Veterans Stadium. Schilling had to shake his hand out the window of the bus as they were driving off to the airport. Big rip by White. And a count of 2 balls and 1 strike. We're in the bottom of the first, and the Phillies lead 2-0. Keeping an eye on Henderson, as is Schilling. Good reason to keep an eye on Ricky. He is the all-time major league leader in stolen bases, 1,095.
That's 1,095 stolen bases during the season. He has 24 in postseason play. During the opening, I said that Ricky Henderson leads the World Series players, or players in the World Series in stolen bases. That's not right. Ricky has 6 World Series steals in 8 games. The record is held by Eddie Collins and Lou Brock. World Series play only, they had 14, but Ricky in postseason with 24.
The flip side of that is it isn't very easy to steal on Schilling. And the Philadelphia staff in general does a good job holding on runners. Ricky bluffed, and it's a double play ball. Stocker to Duncan. Double play. Very close at first, but Devon White called out. 6-4-3, 2 outs, and the base is now empty.
Well, this ball hit hard, and most double play balls have to be hit hard. But when you consider the speed of Devon White from the left side, getting down to first base in a hurry, and that was a very close play at first base.
Duncan, he looked safe on the first replay, and again,
I think he was. I think you're exactly right. Looked like he beat the throw, but Paul Runge calls him out.
You see he's on the bag there, and the ball is still not yet in the glove. Cito Gaston came out to argue, and first base coach Bob Baylor took up the cause as well.
The reason that double play took so long in developing is that a left-handed hitter was up. Mariano Duncan was not cheating close to second base and had farther to go than he normally would have. He looked safe at first.
Alomar looked at strike 1. (2-0) Philadelphia. 2 outs, so the base is now empty in the bottom of the first. Saw the average of Alomar, 326. That was good for third place in the American League during the regular season. And the Blue Jays finished 1-2-3. Olerud, Molitor, and Alomar. It's the first time that teammates have been 1-2-3 in the batting race in exactly 100 years, when that trio of Hall of Famers led the National League and all played for the Philadelphia Phillies. Strike three. Alomar called out on a pitch over the outside corner. After one in Game 1 of the World Series, the Phillies lead 2-0.
Labatt presents the World Series on CTV. Sponsored by Imperial Oil and Esso Associates. You're on your way with Esso.
What's going on, guys? Just started. You don't know.
You're gonna need this.
Run for cover. Jump ball.
No heat pasteurizing, no added preservatives. Cold filtered Labatt genuine draft. Where you are is where it's at.
This is a Sony Trinitron commercial. Sony Trinitron, designed to last.
Throws him out after bobbling it for a moment. Well, we had our first fireworks of the World Series during the break between innings. Roberto Alomar called out on a pitch that on that angle certainly appeared to be high enough, and from this angle appeared to get a piece of the corner. But Cito Gaston was displeased with the umpiring in the first inning, and after inviting Davey Phillips, the home plate umpire, to come a little bit closer, he engaged him in some chin-to-chin conversation. I think it really started with the first batter of the ball game, Tim. The pitches to Dykstra, some of them appeared to be called strikes. Balls that rather, pitches that were called balls looked like strikes, is what I'm trying to say. And Dykstra wound up walking to lead off the ball game.
And then you had what appeared to be Devon White beating the play at first base, and Gaston went out to argue that play, and before he was able to sit down in the dugout, he thought that Phillips was squeezing Roberto Alomar, but as you could see, that last pitch looked like a strike. A manager cannot argue balls and strikes. That's an automatic ejection. However, common sense would dictate that umpires are much more lenient in the World Series.
Of course, Cito Gaston is considered one of the most mild-mannered of the major league managers. But it didn't take him long to get hot tonight. His team trails 2-0 in the top of the second. One out of the base is empty, and 3-1 is the count on the shortstop, Kevin Stocker. John Olerud will play it himself. Slide into first to beat Stocker for the second out of the inning. And Guzman has now retired 4 in a row since the RBI single by Darren Daulton that drove in the second run.
Baseball went 100 years since their last worst to first team back in 1890. The Louisville Colonels did it in what was then a major league, the American Association, and it's happened 3 times in the last 3 years. Minnesota and Atlanta, the year that the Twins won the World Series, and in 1993, the Philadelphia Phillies. They were in last place last year, first place this year.
They finished 26 games behind the Pirates. Lenny Dykstra looked at strike one. He walked, stole second, and scored the first run of the ball game on the single to left by John Kruk last inning. Fouled out of play, 0-2. Ball in the dirt. In addition to looking at the tapes and listening to the scouting reports provided to Guzman by Al Lamacchia and Moose Johnson, Juan said he was also going to give his old pal from the Dominican Republic, Ramon Martinez, a call. Who, of course, is a pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers, a good friend of Juan Guzman. That should be enough information to get you through a start against the Philadelphia Phillies. Alomar throws him out. And the Phillies go in order on 3 ground balls after an inning and a half, 2-0 Philadelphia.
Out here isn't the only place our Ford F-Series pickups have blazed new trails. Our engineering labs are filled with constant improvements like our new standard airbag and new convertible console seat. And yet, along with all these new ideas, there's one that's not new for us at all: toughness. Because when you design a truck for the future, it better be built to last that long. Ford F-Series, the #1 selling truck, is built Ford Tough.
Since Audio Warehouse opened in 1964, technology has changed drastically. If your TV hasn't, step into the 21st century at Audio Warehouse. Audio Warehouse is committed to bringing you only the most respected names in television. Audio Warehouse is excited to present the full line of Panasonic TVs, including the incredible Panasonic Gao. See for yourself why Panasonic is just slightly ahead of our time at Audio Warehouse. Audio Warehouse, making TV worth watching since 1964.
Here's 2 more reasons why all trucks are not created equal. Ford trucks offer split bench seating, power lumbar, and improved Super Cab rear seating. Plus, get 3.9 financing up to 48 months, but only till October 22nd and only at your Ford and Mercury dealer.
Start your Blue Jays World Champion collection today with a limited edition signed and autographed print of Dave Stewart or the 1992 World Series champion team, both signed and autographed from Collector's Choice, your sports art gallery. Order or reserve your print today at 665-8300.
Scotia Center Mall, downtown Saskatoon. The mall on 2nd Avenue South and on 1st Avenue South. We're the mall that joins the avenues. Discover us. We're the mall with style, offering over 20 unique and distinct stores and services where you will find service with style, fashion with style, selection with style, and relaxing with style. Scotia Center Mall, downtown Saskatoon. Discover our style.
This is CTV. Join us for the glorious celebration of the Olympic Winter Games.
The World Series. We're heading to the bottom of the 2nd inning. Philadelphia has a 2-0 lead over Toronto, and Kurt Schilling will face the middle third of the Toronto order in the 2nd. Joe Carter, John Olerud, and Paul Molitor. It was another season of big production for Joe Carter. With his 121 runs batted in. Got off to a flying start in that direction with a club record 25 RBI in April. 1-1 from Schilling. He tied him up with the fastball, 1-2.
That's where pitchers try to pitch Joe, is inside, right at the hands. He's a low ball hitter and likes to extend his arm. What remarkable production. 893 RBIs over the last 8 years.
Up the middle, a base hit. That's the first Toronto hit. The single into center for Joe Carter.
Schilling gets the ball away from Carter. I'll tell you, those last 2 pitches, the 1-1 pitch in on the hands and the 1-2 pitch out over the plate, and that's what we were talking about Joe Carter. He loves to extend his arms. Oh, pretty good pitch to most hitters, but not to Carter.
And it looked like Dalton was again set up inside, but Schilling missed the target. Now John Olerud, who led the American League with his .363 batting average. Much of the year he flirted with the 400 mark. In on the hands, but a base hit. Soft line single in the left. So the Blue Jays open the second with back-to-back singles. Carter at second and Olerud at first.
This a good pitch by Schilling, a slider in on the hands, and it's fisted the other way. Olerud, a guy who uses all parts of the field in which to hit.
Now Paul Molitor, who finished second to Olerud in the American League at hitting at .332. He had 22 homers, drove in 111. It was his first season of 100 runs batted in or more in his 16-year career. It came at age 37. Pitch in the dirt. It got through Dalton, and the runners will move up. And now the tying run is at second base for Toronto in the second.
I think Molitor may have blinded Dalton. The bat may have been in the same path as the ball. Nope, that was not the case. But Dalton, if he has a problem, it's getting down on balls in the dirt. He has had 6 operations on his left leg, his left knee, his 7th coming this winter. And he does have a problem, and that's really his only problem as a catcher.
Still no scoring decision. And now it has been scored a pass ball. Molitor couldn't get the high fastball. Of course, Paul's first 15 seasons in the majors was spent with the Milwaukee Brewers. And he has waited 11 years to get back to the World Series. He last appeared in the Fall Classic with Harvey's Wallbangers, the Brew Crew of 1982. The 1-1 pitch. Up and in, 2 balls and 1 strike.
And it was 11 years ago, about this time, when Paul Molitor became the first man to get 5 hits in a World Series game in Game 1 against the Cardinals in St. Louis.
That was on October 12th of 1982. Well hit on the ground, backhanded by Duncan, and safe at first is Molitor. Carter scores the first Toronto run.
Molitor hits this ball very hard, a slider on the outside part, and watch Duncan. He does finally get to his knee, his right knee, and his throw to first is too late. Looked like he curled the glove hand up under his legs and had a tough time getting rid of it, and Molitor with an infield hit and an RBI.
So 3 straight hits to open the inning. John Kruk with an animated discussion with Kevin Stocker. The pitching coach Johnny Padres visited Schilling and Dalton at the mound. Carter started the inning with a single, took a base on the single by Olerud, and scored on the single by Molitor. The pass ball helped Carter and Olerud move up 90 feet. And now Fernandez with the tying run at third, the go-ahead run at first. Swing and a miss for strike 1.
Funny what that pass ball did. If you have runners on at first and second and nobody out, Duncan's closer to the bat. Of course, you don't know whether Molitor would have hit the same pitch out there. You don't know whether Schilling would have pitched him that way. But nonetheless, it could have been a double play with 2 out and a runner on at third. As it is, the Phillies have no one out.
And runners at first and third. And a count of 1-1 on Fernandez. Fernandez in his first World Series game. And he pops one out of play to the left. Tony was not a member of the Blue Jays last year when they won the World Series. He's one of the 12 new faces. It's really a team that's 50% different from the World Championship team of a year ago, and the Blue Jays deserve a lot of credit for getting back with largely a different cast of characters. The 1-2. Chopped slowly towards second. Duncan to Stocker for the out on Molitor. The tying run across as Olerud came in from third. And the Phillies and Blue Jays are tied at 2.
Calling it not hit hard enough for a double play, a high chopper, and Duncan properly goes to second, and Stocker makes sure of one. Molitor almost beat that play.
2 runs on 3 hits for the Blue Jays. All of that here in the second. The Phillies scored twice in the first. Now it's Sprague. He popped up the first pitch straight back and out of play. Sprague was a regular at the major league level for the first time this season as he took over at third base for Kelly Gruber, who was traded to California in the offseason. Sprague had a very solid year at the bat and in the field. Base hit past the diving Stocker. Fernandez round second. He'll stop midway between second and third, and he's just back safely. At first it looked like Tony was going to stop, and then he appeared to decide to go to third, and then he decided to stop again, and that indecision nearly cost him.
You've heard of middle infielders decoying a runner at first base. Well, runners going from first to second decoy outfielders too. You can see Fernandez almost came to a stop, then he turned it on, and now he gets back to second, and he's called safe. See, he almost stops right there, and now he's trying to decoy Dykstra into making a lollipop throw into third, but he's safely back into second base, not even close, really.
4 hits in the inning, still only 1 out. Pat Borders the hitter. And he looked at a breaking ball high, ball 1. Certainly not was Schilling intended to throw that pitch. Borders was the MVP of the World Series last year. Check swing caught by Kruk, race to the bag, won by Sprague because Kruk fell down. Had John remained on his feet, he had an excellent chance to double up Sprague, but he stumbled going to the bag, and Sprague made it back to first safely.
Just bad luck for Kruk as he stumbles and can't reach the bag. Nice play by Ed Sprague. Runners are often told, watch the line drive. That's easier said than done.
Now 2 outs, and the 7th batter of the second inning is Ricky Henderson, who walked his first time up. He had a miserable league championship series against Chicago. He had only 120. And there was even some talk that perhaps here in the World Series, when the scene shifts to Philadelphia and they try to find a place for Paul Molitor, that Molitor would play left field because of the struggles of Henderson. Tito Gaston said yesterday, Molitor won't play left field unless everybody else on the Blue Jay team is dead.
Stadium.
And rather definitive as well. There's Molitor, and there's Ben Rivera, who has started throwing in the Philadelphia bullpen. We're tied at 2. As you might expect with these two high-scoring teams, Game 1 is off to an offensive start.
Come on, Ricky, you can do it, Ricky. You can do it.
In the air in center. Dykstra drifting to right center, makes room for Eisenreich, and that ends the inning. 2 runs on 4 hits off Kurt Schilling in the second after 2. 2-2 the score.
Fitting regular maintenance into my day is tough. So I go to where it'll be done right at the right price. I go to my GM dealer.
Announcing the GM Goodwrench Surface Plus lube oil and filter offer. Done in 29 minutes or the next one's free. With the work done by GM trained technicians who use quality GM parts.
I trust my GM dealer to give me the finest quality work at a very competitive price.
There you are, Miss RJ.
Thanks, that was fast.
GM Goodwrench Service Plus means auto service with a plus.
The World Series has arrived, and so have the Jays. With Alomar and Borders, you'll always see great plays. Stewart throws a stare, Joe pumps a grin. There's never a doubt about the World Series champions. Yeah. The World Series champions. When Devo's on the field, he's always snagging flies. When Molitor's at bat, the ball's headed for the skies. The Jays of '93, sweet victory is near. Whenever there's fun, there's always Coca-Cola. Yeah, yeah. Coca-Cola, yeah. Always Coca-Cola.
This is your standard living room. Seating for 8 with all the comforts of home. Our living room also has seating for 8 with all the comforts of home. The only difference is, ours comes with a 4.3-liter V6 engine, standard 4-wheel anti-lock brakes, a driver's side facial airbag, and the most towing capacity in its class. Introducing the 1994 GMC Safari.
A triumphant celebration. The Olympic Winter Games on CTV.
Kurt Schilling, who only gave up 3 earned runs in 16 innings of work in the League Championship Series against Atlanta, knocked around 4 hits and 2 runs in the second inning of Game 1 of the World Series by the Blue Jays. So we're tied at 2 as the Phillies bat in the third. Mariano Duncan to lead off. He struck out swinging his first time up. John Kruk on deck, and then Dave Hollins against Juan Guzman. After a sloppy start, has retired 5 in a row.
You can almost sense a more relaxed delivery on the part of Guzman since that first inning, and certainly that's normal. Nervous in the first.
Duncan with a shot in the left and a base hit. Kicked momentarily by Henderson, but he got on top of it quickly, and Duncan has a leadoff single.
This ball hit hard to left field. That unusual swing by Duncan. We mentioned in the NLCS that he looks almost like Eric Davis. He drops that bat down so low. A momentary bobble by Henderson didn't hurt.
John Kruk singled to left to drive in the first run of the ball game in the first inning, and he scored the second run. He came in on a base hit by Darren Dalton.
Funny, Duncan holding his hands down low around the belt, and contrast that with John Kruk and how he holds the bat above the helmet. It really doesn't matter how you start as far as your stance is concerned. It's where you are when the ball's about 15 to 20 feet from home plate, and all good hitters are almost in the same position.
As Dennis Menke, the Philadelphia batting coach, says, with Kruk's stance, his approach is really based on timing. Timing is so important in his swing that if he gets just a little bit out of sync, he can have a little bit of a downturn as he did late in the regular season.
And the last 3 games in the LCS when he went 1 for 13.
Kruk. 2-2 the score in the third. Oh, and 2 the count on Kruk. Even for the World Series, John didn't bother to clean the pine tar off his helmet. Earlier in the year when Jim Fregosi asked him to do that, he went into a slump. He's gone back to the junk all over his helmet.
Fans up here in Toronto getting their first taste of Krukisms.
And in large doses. He was a popular figure at the press conference yesterday and was surrounded by reporters and cameras as the Phillies took batting practice. Of course, the papers had picked up right where they left off. The Phillies' appearance, so much of a topic of discussion and print during the LCS, and that has continued in the World Series previews. Pitch in the dirt, an excellent pitch on which to run for Duncan, and he steals second without a throw from Pat Borders. So the Phillies, not known as a running ball club, have 2 stolen bases in the first 3 innings.
But see, this is where, if you've never seen a pitcher before, a go-ahead scout can really help a ball club. How long does he take to get the ball to home plate? That high leg kick, and then he smooths it out almost to a slide step, and the ball in the dirt. Borders made a nice play just coming up with it. The second stolen base in 3 innings for the Phillies.
And a runner in scoring position with nobody out as the Phillies try to reclaim the lead. 2-2 the count on Kruk. Ball 3 up and in. And the count is full. Guzman walked 2 in the first. And then settled down to retire 5 in a row before the base hit by Duncan to open the third. A payoff pitch. Fouled to the screen. That fastball clocked at 96 miles per hour. Excited to be at the World Series. Another payoff pitch. Bounced into right field. A base hit past the diving Alomar. Here comes Duncan. Carter's throw is not in time. And the Phillies reclaim the lead. It's 3-2. John Kruk is 2 for 2 tonight and has driven in 2 of the 3 Phillies runs.
Hit sharply right side. The diving Alomar can't get it. Joe Carter's throw is low enough to keep Kruk at first base. You see how Olerud is faking cutting the ball off. That keeps Kruk there. But the throw too late to get Duncan, and the Phils take the lead again. I think that's what you're going to see in this series. Both teams taking the lead away from one another throughout.
Dave Hollins with a fly ball to straightaway center. White the catch for the first out of the inning. The hits are even now at 4 apiece, and the Phillies lead 3-2 in the third. Darren Dalton steps in. He singled to right to drive in a run in the first. After a slow start, he picked it up in the last couple of games of the league championship series against the Braves. And the first pitch to Dalton is strike 1. All the Phillies, Dalton has waited the longest and been through the most in a Philadelphia uniform leading up to the World Series, and you got the sense that his teammates were happy for themselves, but to a man they were happiest for Darren Dalton. Down the left field line and slicing out of play. Dalton first appeared in the major leagues with Philadelphia back in 1983. And prior to this year, he had never played on a team that finished closer than 15 games out of first place. Strike three. Dalton down swinging at the breaking ball for the second out of the inning and the fourth strikeout of the night for Juan Guzman.
Guzman has 4 strikeouts and 3 have been on sliders down in the dirt. Those are nasty sliders from Guzman. It has a tight grip on them, similar to a Steve Carlton slider. Steve Carlton throwing out the first ball in game 4 at Philadelphia.
Eisenreich slaps one to short. Fernandez to Alomar to end the inning. The Phillies take the lead. We'll return to Skydome after this message and a word from your local station.
Hoffman Cool Insurance asks you to think about your property and your belongings. Some of the things you enjoy all the time are fairly valuable and expensive to replace if anything happens to them. With an SGI home pack or tenant pack, you can rest a little easier. Hoffman Cool Insurance is an experienced local business ready to help you with all insurance matters. Open 6 days a week, conveniently located at number 575 Lenore Drive.
Accidents happen. Here's what you do. Report the accident to SGI. Bring the white sheet that you get from them to the body shop at Sherwood Chevrolet. We will order the required parts. When they arrive, we will give you a free loaner to drive while we are repairing your vehicle. You notice that we work on all makes of cars and trucks. Free loaner, guaranteed work, no gamble. Sherwood Chevrolet on 8th Street East. We'll fix it right.
Now, Mr. Fidelford, we'll talk about the painting.
Okay.
Now, first, the living room. I want it to be a soft green.
Uh-huh.
Not as blue-green as a robin's egg,
No.
but not as yellow-green as daffodil bud.
No.
It should just be a sort of grayish yellow-green.
Uh-huh.
Good old-fashioned services available in Saskatoon at Days Paint, 701 2nd Avenue North, 1/2 block north of SGI.
We're very particular about our treatment of the environment here. We take great care and have over the years to not to damage the environment in any way.
The North is so vast that the little sections of land that they do take to mine uranium are so tiny as compared to the whole scope of northern Saskatchewan.
We care about our communities and our environment. Chemical, look over our shoulder, please.
One of the many appealing features of Skydome, Sightlines Restaurant in straightaway center field. And you can enjoy what must be a delicious meal and enjoy a World Series ball game. The Sightlines Restaurant is right below the Skydome Hotel out in straightaway center. Devon White, the batter. He took the first pitch of the inning from Kurt Schilling high for a ball. White had a tremendous league championship series against Chicago, and Dave Stewart, who was the MVP of the ALCS, said he thought Devon White was going to win it. It shouldn't come as much of a surprise. Devon White, a .346 career hitter in postseason play. And that is one of the best averages of all time. Third best, in fact. And look at the company. Lou Gehrig at .361 and Thurman Munson at .357. The only players with a better batting average in the postseason than White, among those who have had 100 or more postseason at bats. The Phillies lead 3-2. They've enjoyed the lead twice now in game 1. They got off to a 2-0 advantage. The Blue Jays tied it with 2 last inning off Schilling. And the Phils reclaim the lead with 1 in the top of the 3rd. Ball high. Schilling missed with the fastball. The count is full.
Devon White from Jamaica. He moved to New York City with his family when he was 9 years old. He was a big soccer player down in Jamaica.
Dykstra waving off Thompson, and they misplay it. White around second and heading for third, and he'll get there as the throw is offline. Dykstra had his hand up the whole way as he was approaching the ball, but Thompson kept charging at him, and that did not appear to be a pleasant exchange between the two of them as they went to reclaim their positions.
Simply a breakdown in communications. Dykstra up with a glove, Thompson up with a glove, and the ball drops between them. It looked like Thompson got a glove on it. He did. Looked like it hit the left foot of Dykstra. Of course, you can't hear a lot. Dykstra with the hand up, and that does no good because by that time, Milt Thompson is watching the ball.
It's an air charge to Thompson, the first Philadelphia error of the ball game. And Roberto Alomar bats with the tying run at third and nobody out. The infield is playing back. Alomar was called out on strikes ending the first. Milt Thompson had only one error during the regular season on a Phillies team that admits that defense is a weakness, and we saw outstanding plays by the Phillies and very poor plays by the Phillies in the field during the league championship series.
I don't think that was Milt Thompson's fault. I think it was Len Dykstra's fault. When a left-handed hitter hits the ball the other way, the ball's going to tail back to the left fielder. And I think Dykstra, by following that ball, made the mistake of getting in the way of Milt Thompson, because the ball was coming back to Thompson and a much easier play for Milt than Lenny.
The 1-2. And Alomar fought it off. He'll be followed by Joe Carter. Devon White at third. Thompson had only one error, and he played in 106 regular season games. A pop-up that won't get the run in as Hollins settles under. That's the first out of the Toronto third. And it brings up Joe Carter, who singled to center leading off the second, and he scored the first Toronto run of the ball game. The infield remains back for Philadelphia, and Carter lifts one to right. With White's speed, that should be deep enough. Eisenreich with the catch, and White is on to score the tying run. So the Blue Jays capitalize on the error by Thompson to tie the game at 3.
You know, one thing should be noted here, Sean. Devon White being on third base instead of second base. There are a lot of major leaguers who wouldn't run hard out of the box and run through second base and be on third base rather handily. I'd say 80% of guys who hit a ball like that end up on second base. 80% of the big leaguers. And Devon White gets a lot of credit being on third, so he's able to score on the sac fly by Carter.
Of course, with Devon's graceful long strides and speed, he probably could have run backwards and made it to third on that play. Olerud ahead in the count, 2-0. John singled to left and scored the second Toronto run last inning. The line score is now identical. Each team with 3 runs on 4 hits, and each has committed an error. And that's a bounding ball past Bob Baylor in the first base coach's box. Terry Mulholland will be the game 2 starter tomorrow night for Philadelphia. Be opposed by Dave Stewart. Nice play on the comebacker by Schilling, and that ends the inning. But the error proves costly to the Phillies. After 3-3 the score.
Out
Out here isn't the only place our Ford F-Series pickups have blazed new trails. Our engineering labs are filled with constant improvements like our new standard airbag and new convertible console seat. And yet, along with all these new ideas, there's one that's not new for us at all: toughness. Because when you design a truck for the future, it better be built to last that long. Ford F-Series, the #1 selling truck, is built Ford tough.
Braun Flex Control. The first electric shaver with a pivoting head. Flex Control automatically adjusts to every contour of your face. Under the chin, under the lip, that tricky spot under your nose. You'll get the closest Braun shave yet. Flex Control from Braun, the last word in shavers.
Hey, Dad! Feel like tossing the ball?
You bet.
Honey, could you give me a hand?
Yeah.
Dad, can you drive me to Karen's, please?
Right there.
This is the office where our Ford truck engineers get a lot of work done. Because by knowing firsthand how a full-size pickup ought to work, they can make it work even better. That's why the Ford F-Series now has a new standard airbag, standard anti-lock brakes, and constant ideas to make tough even tougher. More proof that at Ford, we're looking ahead and looking to stay ahead. Ford F-Series, built Ford tough.
3-3 the score after 3 innings. John Kruk is 2 for 2 and has driven in 2 of the 3 Philadelphia runs. Paul Molitor had an RBI single for Toronto, scored their first run. And Joe Carter has scored a run and driven in 1. And Kurt Schilling was victimized by the misplay in the outfield, the miscommunication between Thompson and Dykstra, which led to the tying run scoring for Toronto in the bottom of the 3rd. The line scores identical as the 4th inning rolls around. And Ricky Jordan looked at a first pitch ball from Juan Guzman. Bottom 3rd of the order, Jordan, Thompson, and Stockard.
Interesting to notice the reaction of Kurt Schilling, who gave up 2 runs in the 2nd inning. He was mad at himself. But an error by an outfielder, there's no way that he's going to show emotion on the bench, because that's really showing up your outfielder. And the Phillies and the Blue Jays, for that matter, both teams very professional and very much like a family. Very, very close. Matter of fact, Cito Gaston telling us that he's almost as happy these guys won it this year as opposed to last year with 12 new faces on his team.
Even with all the new faces, he feels that this is a more closely knit group than the team that won the World Series last year. And of course, we've heard a lot about the togetherness and harmony of the Phillies, but it certainly looked after the misplay that Thompson and Dykstra were none too pleased with each other.
That can often be a reaction just to what happened. You're not necessarily taking it personally. It's just that you're mad because you both messed the play up.
I imagine in true Phillies fashion, that was probably taken care of in the dugout between innings. Davey Phillips rings up Ricky Jordan. He strikes out for the 2nd time tonight, and that's 5 strikeouts for Guzman, 1 out in the 4th.
Now this slider appeared to be outside right there, and outside by a pretty good margin.
Oh, yes.
As you can see there, that's 6 inches outside. Hitters don't mind if umpires call the high strike or the low strike because they can reach them. But if you can't reach your ball, you can't hit it, and that ball is unreachable.
And it appeared that early in the game, right with the first batter, Dave Phillips had a very narrow strike zone, and all of a sudden, when it expands out there, the hitters don't know what to expect when they go up there. Milt Thompson bounced back to the mound his first time up. He tried to check that swing. It was much too late. 0-2 the count.
Thompson really went too far then.
Chop foul beyond the Philadelphia dugout. This is the first World Series for Milt Thompson. He's played more than 1,100 regular season games in his career. The 0-2. And he fought it off the other way. This very easily could have been a World Series between two teams called the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Back in the mid-40s for 2 seasons, the Philadelphia Phillies were known as the Philadelphia Blue Jays. Of course, the Toronto franchise selected its nickname of Blue Jays in August of 1976. They had a name the team contest. Blue Jays was submitted by 154 participants. And it was then team owner Robert Carpenter who ran a contest early in 1944 to change the nickname of the Phillies. They hadn't had much success on the field. He thought the change of the name might change the image and perhaps turn around the results. After 2 years with the Blue Jays, the Phillies officially restored as the nickname of the Philadelphia baseball team. One out of the bases empty in the fourth. 3-3 the score. 1-2 is the count on Thompson.
Matter of fact, the lady who sent in the winning entry back in 1944, for doing that, her name was Mrs. Crooks. And for doing that, she received a $100 war bond.
In her winning entry, which we obtained a copy of, I think it's exclusively the property of CBS. She said the Blue Jay will reflect new team spirit. It's colorful in personality. His fighting, aggressive spirit never admits defeat. He defends his home grounds fiercely. In his flights afar, his constancy of purpose never wavers. His jaunty, nonchalant poise, when in repose, would make a challenging insignia. No wonder they chose that. That kind of inspiring writing from Mrs. John L. Crooks of Philadelphia back in 1944. Now, of course, you played for the then Philadelphia Blue
No,
Jays.
I didn't. I was 3 years old then.
Strike 3. Thompson strikes out swinging. Back-to-back strikeouts here in the fourth for Guzman. He has fanned 6 tonight. And another feature of Sky Dome along the concourse, a huge bat with the names of the members of last year's World Series Championship Blue Jay Club. 12 players have departed from that team. Derek Bell, David Cohn, Kelly Gruber, Tom Henke, Jimmy Key, Manuel Lee, Candy Maldonado, Jack Morris, Rance Mullenix, Pat Tabler, David Wells, and Dave Winfield, all on the World Series roster last year for Toronto. 0-1 the count on Stocker, who bounced the first. His first time up. They've been replaced by Rob Butler, Willie Cagnati, Tony Castillo, Darnell Coles, Danny Cox, Tony Fernandez, Ricky Henderson, Pat Henkin, Al Leiter, Paul Molitor, Dick Schofield, and Dave Stewart. Stocker to center and pretty well hit. Devon White still drifting back at the warning track. He makes the catch just in front of the 400-foot mark. And the Phillies go in order in the fourth after 3.5, 3-3 the score.
Labatt presents the World Series on CTV, sponsored by your local bottler of Coca-Cola. Always the real thing. Always Coca-Cola.
Look, a rainbow! Over there! Oh, there! Don't you see it? I can, through my Panasonic Palm Quarter color viewfinder.
Where? I hardly noticed it through my black and white viewfinder, but I'm sure I got it on tape.
Great, let's go see. Do your camcorder tapes play in a VHS recorder?
No.
Oh, well, my palm quarter tapes will.
Oh.
So why didn't you just get a palm quarter?
I don't know.
The choice is obvious. The Panasonic Palm Quarter. Its tapes will play in your VCR.
Over and over again, people ask me what I believe in. It's very simple. I believe in the people of Canada. I believe in the rights to dignity and security. I believe that they should go to bed at night without worrying whether or not they will have a job in the morning, whether or not their children will have a future. I believe in my plan. I believe in my people. I believe we will make a difference.
I would have almost paid my own way to play baseball if I could have. The hitting was what I always liked, and I had a bat in my hand. I just felt like I was the man in command. I've been a member of the Hall of Fame since 1982. Probably one of the greatest thrills I had in life. I've been a card member since 1988. It works.
American Express is welcomed at the Hall of Fame and at places where you don't have to be a big hitter to get noticed.
You didn't feel compromised by having a family. And we promise you won't feel compromised by our family sedan. Leap year from Honda.
As a team leader, yesterday we talked about leadership.
In baseball, it's a team game, but it centers around a one-on-one confrontation between a pitcher and a hitter. So leadership to me in baseball is more of preparation, example, consistency, and approach day in and day out, being willing to pull guys aside maybe one-on-one. I'm not big on rah-rah speeches and clubhouse meetings, but I do like to be a guy to pat a guy in the back, let him know when he's doing something right or wrong. And, you know, if that's worked out into a leadership role and the guys have appreciated it, then it makes you feel good about what you've done.
And Molitor swung at the first pitch of the fourth. He's out on the flying ball to Eisenreich in right. Paul now 1 for 2. He had an infield single and an RBI back in the second.
Usually in baseball, it's the players that come up through the farm system that are more often than not the leaders. It's very unusual for a team to have two leaders in Paul Molitor and Dave Stewart, who've obviously had great careers, but that in itself is not, does not qualify for leadership ability. But it's very unusual for two guys to pick up two players and both of them be leaders on the club, and that's what they are.
Tony Fernandez reached on a fielder's choice and drove in a run in the second. And he's ahead in the count with Kurt Schilling. 2 balls and no strikes. 1 out on the bases empty. Bottom of the fourth, 3-3 the score. Fernandez at the plate to be followed by Ed Sprague. And in this ballpark, we have the 2 most sure-handed shortstops in Major League Baseball history. Tony Fernandez with the lowest career rate of errors. Larry Boa, now the Phillies' third base coach, is number 2. They actually shared the lead from time to time this year. Fernandez began the season with the lowest career error rate among Major League shortstops. Boa took over when Fernandez had a couple of errors earlier in the year. But Tony, with solid play down the stretch, reclaimed the lead in that category. Here's Larry Boa. Fernandez drew a walk. The second issued by Schilling. And here's Ed Sprague, who bounced a single through the middle his first time up.
You might see some movement on the part of the Blue Jays now. They are in complete contrast to the Phillies. Most of the Blue Jays are first ball hitters.
Fernandez runs late, and he's a dead duck. Fernandez with the delay, and Dalton was able to throw him out with ease.
With a delayed steal, what a runner at first base tries to do, he tries to steal on the middle infielders, because after the pitch is through the strike zone, the middle infielders look down, and when he runs, they are usually late in covering second base, but not so Mariano Duncan.
Sprague tapped one to short. Stalker throws him out, and all of a sudden that's the end of the inning. After 4, 3-3 to score.
Now, with a Coca-Cola Sports Break, here's Rod Black.
And hello, Canada. Hope you're enjoying Game 1. It's a good one here at the Skydome. We'll get back to it in a moment, but let's quickly recap a busy day in sports across the nation. First to the CFL, Henry Gizmo Williams taking a pass from Damon Allen going 102 yards. It was all Edmonton over the Rough Riders today. 19-1, the Eskimos 9-6. The Rough Riders fall to 3-12. Playoff time reaching the desperation point. The Argos play Calgary on Monday. Great week for Pointe-Claire, Quebec's Craig Ruzetsky. It came to an end in the semifinals in Tokyo today. He lost to Todd Martin, who will play Yvonne Lendl in the championship. There are 12 games in the National Hockey League tonight. We have some highlights from a couple of them. A rematch of last night, the Maple Leafs and the Detroit Red Wings, this time in Joe Louis Arena. Some leftover tempers from last night, too, as they get rough early. The Leafs hit the scoreboard. Dave Andrechuk is 7th of the season. John Cullen has a goal for Toronto as well. Mark Howe has scored for Detroit. It is 2-1 for the Leafs, looking to go 6-0. It's in the third period. To Montreal in the Forum, the Canadiens and the Nordique. It is Craig Willanen stopped by Patrick Waugh early, but the Nordique turn it on. Mike Ricci with the goal. Quebec leading by a score of 4-1 in the third. We'll have more scores, more highlights when we see you in the middle of the 8th. Enjoy the ball game. Let's get back to it.
Now a World Series moment from Game 1, 1954. Willie Mays with the spectacular catch of Vic Wertz's drive to center in the 8th inning of that ball game with 2 men on and nobody out. It was a 2-2 game at the time. New York went on to win the game 5-2 in the series over Cleveland 4-0.
Larry Doby was on second base. Al Rosen on first base. Doby went to third, and from everybody that I've talked to who saw that catch, Sean, it wasn't necessarily the catch. I mean, the catch was spectacular, but it was the throw after the catch and the wherewithal of Mays to get the ball back in the infield quickly to prevent Doby from scoring.
Of course, that was Cleveland's last appearance in the World Series, 1954. Philadelphia Phillies making just their 5th appearance in franchise history in the World Series. And they're tied with the Blue Jays at 3-3 as Lenny Dykstra begins the 5th. Dykstra walked, stole second, and scored in the first. He bounced to second in the second. Juan Guzman has retired 6 in a row. Jack swing, no swing, says Charlie Williams of the National League, the third base umpire.
Dykstra go too far? Well, he could have. That was close. Almost all replays look like the hitter went too far, however.
The 1-2 on Dykstra. Lenny and Ricky Henderson indirectly engaged in an exchange of words yesterday through the media. Dykstra was quoted as saying, when Ricky wants to play, he can be dangerous to the opposition. The implication being that Henderson doesn't always perform at 100% intensity. Ricky thought that Dykstra seemed to be claiming the mantle of the best leadoff man in baseball. And Ricky says 1 year doesn't make you the best leadoff man in baseball. Ricky maintains that he has earned that kind of respect with his performance over the duration of his career.
In my opinion, he's the best leadoff hitter in the history of the game, hands down.
Well, you could certainly say that Dykstra had the best season of a leadoff hitter this year in Major League Baseball.
Even though Henderson, before the trade from Oakland, was having a terrific year with the Athletics and by all rights should have been on the All-Star team, but didn't make it.
Was left off by his current manager, Cito Gaston. The 2-2 pitch in the dirt. Of course, Dykstra was also an All-Star game snub. Bobby Cox said he was the toughest omission. Guzman has walked 2. Both of those walks were in the first inning. He struck out 6. Payoff pitch. Sliced out of play.
I think Lenny Dykstra was the toughest out in the major leagues this year because of what he just did, foul the ball back. He had 29 leadoff walks. He had a leadoff walk to lead off this game and scored a run. He is undeterred on the pitch count. 773 plate appearances this year. That's a major league record, surpassing Pete Rose in 1974.
And that's a lob down the right field line, and a great catch by Alomar. The Gold Glover with a diving grab of the soft line drive over the head of Olerud. He was almost on the right field line when he made the catch.
This play was awesome. The ball didn't have a lot of hang time. We talked about Alomar's range. No second baseman in baseball comes close to that ball. That is a remarkable play by Roberto Alomar. Wow. He went past the first base position to make that catch.
Duncan looked at ball 1. Ball 2.
I don't think I've ever seen a second baseman roam from the line to second base any wider than Roberto Alomar. He is just remarkable. He made 14 errors this year, but he's never made an error in postseason play.
Two and one now on Duncan.
I think some of the errors that he makes, the reason is because he can get to those balls. Most guys, there are base hits, but with Alomar, he gets to balls and has a chance to make an error on balls that most second basemen don't even have a chance on.
Roberto has been the Gold Glove winner at second base in the American League the last 2 years. He has a little bit stiffer competition these days now that Chico Lind is in the American League with the Kansas City Royals. Guzman has set down 7 in a row with the help from Alomar, and that's out of play. Still 2-2 on Duncan. John Kruk to hit next. 3-3 the score in the top of the 5th. This is game 1 of the World Series. Game 2 here in Toronto tomorrow night. Games 3, 4, and 5, if necessary, will be played in Philadelphia. Games 6 and 7 are necessary. They'd be back here. And another full count for Guzman. Juan's up to 93 pitches. Payoff pitch. Popped up out of play behind the plate. Duncan is coming into the option year in his contract, and the Phillies will have to make a decision in the offseason. If he comes back next year, he'll make $2.2 million. Obviously, with a number of players eligible for salary arbitration, Phillies payroll is likely to go up. It almost always does coming off a successful season.
Phillies payroll about half of what the Blue Jays is.
Jays payroll at $51 million. And the Phillies at right around $26 million.
And with a $7 million per team cut in the national TV contract, teams are going to have to look at those decisions that much more seriously. Olerud runs out of room.
Popcorn, peanuts, caramel popcorn.
Doesn't look like popcorn business is very good in the upper deck behind the plate. Mitch Williams, the wild thing. Another 3-2 to Duncan. Well hit to left. Way back toward the 375 mark. Henderson. It's off the top of the wall. Duncan on his way to third as White retrieves, and it's a triple for Mariano Duncan.
Duncan led the major leagues in triples